All right, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging, Genlab Alpha Edition. This is going to be our ongoing campaign using Mutant Year Zero by Free League. We got another actual play show that we do using the Zweihander RPG system. We put that out as an audio podcast. You can find that every Monday, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, etc. You can also get us online at thelollygaggers.com, and you can catch me, the official Twitter, at lollygaggerco. So last week we did a session 0, created our characters. Everyone's playing an animal mutant in a post-apocalyptic world that's destined to be members of the resistance in Paradise Valley. So we're going to go ahead and do a kind of quick introduction. So let's go ahead and start with Ashley.
My character is Helena 7. She's the cat. She wears Victorian clothing. She always has like a nail file on hand. That's kind of like one of her quirks. She's kind of got resting bitch face. Partially because she's a hairless cat, so she's just kind of gross, saggy skin, and she's got bright blue eyes. She lives in the cabin village with her sister, and yeah, that's about it for her.
Yeah, awesome. We've got some pretty cool art for her. All right, Long, who are you?
I'll be playing McCloud 64. I am the fox and the seer. And my appearance, I'm orange brown fur. I have one of those propeller rainbow hats.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Green jacket. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. All right, Melissa.
So I am playing a Weasel hunter. Her name is Hamill 76. With her appearance, she is dressed in like overalls with a hoodie. The Weasel, she is small. And so she's got these little tiny, like kind of combat boot looking things, which is sort of about the size of like baby shoes.
Very cool.
So.
Are weasels really that small? Are they smaller or larger than ferrets? Do we know that?
I don't.
I think weasels are generally larger. Bigger.
Yeah, that's what I always thought they were. I always thought weasels were the bigger.
I'm not sure. I just know that I have like one of the features that I have is tiny, which like helps me in combat.
Do you know what a marten is? And not like a Martin Lawrence or.
I've heard of that before. Yeah.
Well, apparently there are a bunch of them in the Badger tribe, with like the weasels and the Wolverine stuff. They all kind of fight for some reason. I don't know. They'll just never seem to get along. Anyway, Derek.
All right, I am playing a chameleon scavenger. His name is Tchaikovsky 40. He is an elderly individual, so he's got a very grizzled, lined face. Kind of also has a serious and grumpy-looking resting face. Has some notable 5 o'clock shadow, and his skin has seen a lot of sunlight from all the scavenging he does.
Very cool.
He wears a huge trench coat that's got a lot of patches on it, and covers actually most of his body. You can only see his hands, his neck, and his face.
Very cool. Love it. Logan, what do you got for us?
My character's name is Cujo 31. I'm a Wolverine who's the warrior for our party. I'm kind of an introverted person. I like to keep to myself. I don't get along with many people. I'm a kind of a shorter, stocky build, definitely sizable to the average person in our habitat, but nowhere near the size of the bears or the mooses. Stocky build, multiple scars from battle, and I carry a goaltender mask, circa basically Jason from Friday the 13th. And I basically will put that on anytime I'm about to fight because it helps protect my eyes, which aren't the greatest.
Yeah, and it's an actual like real item or artifact, and it has like benefits and everything. So cool. So are you ready? Any questions?
Yeah, I just looked it up. Ferrets are actually bigger than weasels.
What?
Yeah, about like 5 inches.
Well, I think we played that wrong in the Zweihander campaign. Whoops. Anyway, let's go ahead and dive in. So this campaign is going to take place in the valley known as Paradise Valley. It is completely enclosed on almost all sides by a electrified fence that goes very, very high. And there's all sorts of drones and other robots that kind of keep an eye on it to ensure that the inhabitants of the valley, that being the animal mutants, cannot escape. It's a very dreary, gloomy area, despite it being fairly lush, big forests and streams and such. And it is, to some degree, a run-down and dilapidated ski resort in some cases. Despite there not being a ton to celebrate throughout the course of the year, the lives of an animal are very, very rough, very difficult. The trappings that we have in our own lives aren't necessarily available, despite the fact that there are some things like masks and whatnot that you can find, little artifacts that can help you. Overall, it's a fairly gloomy place. Now, despite this, there are a handful of days throughout a year where all of the animals can kind of come together, despite their their factionalization, the various habitats. Some of them kind of don't really get along here and there. But despite all of that, despite the ever-present nature of the washers, the ever-present nature of these custodians of the human ancestors of animal mutants, there are a handful of days where all animals across the valley, from the west side badgers to the east side rabbits, can come together and enjoy. One of those nights is tonight, which is the Night of the Wild Dance, one of a few different holidays. It is springtime in Paradise Valley. And as we kind of swoop in, if you want to imagine like a camera of a movie kind of swooping down this long distance shot of the valley itself with its two mountains on the east and west side to kind of reinforce the oppression. The camera starts to zoom down a little bit further until we settle over top of the Badger Burrow, which is very far to the west side, the southwest side of the valley, and within sight of the outer fence. There are two concrete buildings that have erupted from the ground. They seem abandoned, save for a few martins that scatter here and there. It is nighttime, and despite being one of the smallest tribes, the Badger tribe is also one of the most energetic. Most of the time, that energy is often misplaced, is directed inward, and is the cause of much interior conflict, with the Wolverines and the Badgers tending to get at each other, the Weasels and the Martins and the Ferrets fighting for scraps. But tonight, during the Wild Dance, squabbles such as those are set aside. There's rarely cause to celebrate, but tonight is one, because the Wild Dance, it celebrates the feral ancestry of these animal mutants. No voices save the sounds that their feral ancestors would make are allowed. So no language, no use of tools, anything that humans would have invented or used to influence. Instead, it is all about the animal side, the feral side. And the bulk of the population of the Badger Burrow has gathered in the burrows and tunnels and depressions and trenches to the east of the buildings, around the center of which is a massive bonfire that's set up on one of the grounds. Badgers and weasels and martins and wolverines alike are all present, including some of the characters that we have before us, including Hamill, a small weasel hunter, and her older, sickly brother Hamilton, who have found their way to the bonfire and are celebrating. So, Hamill, how are you celebrating?
So Hamill is going to be kind of playing that kind of go-between role, where because her brother is ill, he can't really participate to the extent that everyone else is. So he's kind of hanging out around the edges, and so she'll kind of go off, kind of frolic, kind of hang out with some folks and then kind of come back and check in on him. So she's definitely doing a lot of that kind of back and forth.
Okay. And so what is Hamilton doing?
He is kind of sitting there. He's doing a little more of the, kind of penguin dance kind of, movements where he's not kind of fully able to, kind of frolic and kind of enjoy with everybody else. But he looks like he's enjoying himself and having a good time.
Okay. So yeah, and a good time is had by everyone as the night progresses deeper and deeper into the darkness. The moon and the stars are out. A few hours later, well past midnight, before dawn, Cujo, exhausted, having celebrated for the past several hours, is just arriving at his den. It's a little bit further away from the sort of the central festivities, down one of the trenches, hang a left or a right, something like that. And so as the camera kind of follows and we see this bulkier Wolverine settle into his den, what are we looking at, Logan? And like, what are you doing as you enter?
Cujo's den is very minimalistic. He runs or he assists his tribe elder in running a shop, and he rents a room basically behind him. So it's a small den with basically just a sack of stuffings from he's gathered around the local area, just some soft straws and grasses and things like that in a sack. And then next to his bed, he keeps his weapons as well as his mask. And then he just has a book that he carries around that was passed down from his tribe elder, which has a lot of etchings in it he doesn't quite understand, but he kind of keeps it close to him just because it was the only real gift that he's received.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, there's all sorts of books and such. I would say it's not as common for people to read, but the etchings make sense. And over the course of the campaign, depending upon like rolling comprehend skills and stuff, you might be able to discern more things as we go. So as you're settling in, exhausting, like a good exhaustion, the muscles of your body have been stretched. Your bones, your lungs they feel full and vibrant. But it's time to settle in, and you know that the wild dance goes until dawn, and during that time, the only sounds you'll hear are the feral shouts and growls, and you know that quite certain. Everyone knows that, so that means that when you hear something coming from outside, first kind of a distant warning call that you assume is probably some kind of celebration, a weasel somewhere shouting in glee. You realize after a moment or two of it repeating that those warning calls have been shifting into actual words, and you hear a voice yell, "They're coming! The machines are coming! Oh my God! The machines are here!" And you hear this almost like a helicopter sound coming outside of your den. What are you doing?
I immediately start heading towards the voices that are calling.
So as you dip outside, you can see above you there are various lights in the sky. You can see specifically there are three robotic flying machines, each with these floodlights that are periodically scanning the crowd, scanning the various trenches and streets. You look around and you can see that there's all sorts of other Badger tribe participants previously celebrating the wild dance that are now hiding. Some of them are hiding behind crates or barrels or other kind of repurposed things that people found throughout the valley. Some are in the process of burying themselves either directly into the ground or into the walls. You see a floodlight come incredibly quickly past you, shift back for a second, and then continue past as if it's not as interested in you. You see it settle in on a couple different individuals who all are just frozen in terror. You continue to see these things flying until you can tell that they're going westward towards where the big bonfire was. You continue running down the trench, and as you turn, you can see suddenly that the drones have positioned themselves and have stayed still in the sky. All three of the floodlights have converged onto a single individual, and it is Hamilton. And it's all three of them are standing there, just shining their lights down. Hamilton looks a little nervous, and eventually you hear a voice come out from the drones, all in unison: "Prepare for transport! Prepare for medical examination at once!" And then it repeats it like a second time and a third time, and everyone knows it's tradition. You do not interfere with an abduction. Absolutely not. And so when you see Hamilton pick up a rock and scream, "Damn you machines! You will never take me alive! Long live the resistance!" And he just chucks this rock, and it clanks perfectly off of the metal dome of the drone. What are you doing, Hamilton?
She will definitely kind of move toward him in a kind of a protective way and see if she can kind of pull and scooch him out of the spotlight.
And as
What are you doing? What are you doing?
And as you do that, the spotlights follow him and repeat, "Prepare for transport. Do not interfere." And even Hamill is kind of pushing you off. So like looking around you, and like maybe you're pleading with other people to help in some way, but no one is. And that's standard. Like that's pretty obvious. And as the drones continue to threaten not to interfere, as they continue to tell Hamilton to prepare for transport, he picks up another rock and just throws it, and he says, "The resistance lives on! We'll continue to live on!" From Cujo's perspective, you can hear something kind of in the distance. You see people running past you, pushing past you, as if they're just trying to flee at this point. Are you doing anything? Is Cujo doing anything?
Are we underground currently still, or are we outside? We're outside.
You're outside, but you're like in little depressions.
Like trenches? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
About how high up are these drones?
The drones are up in the sky, maybe 10 to 15 feet off the ground or so. They're just kind of hovering there.
Do we know of these drones to be battle ready in any way?
Yeah, they can fight.
Or are they mostly surveil? Okay.
If you want, you can try to learn more about them by rolling a no nature check. This will have a +1 modification for you.
Could I use measure enemy instead? Would that count?
Sure, go ahead. You can. Well, actually, the thing with measure enemy is that the bonuses that you get from it are more like mechanical for fighting. So
okay, I'll just roll no nature then.
Yeah,
I don't have any points in it, but I can still roll, right? Because that'll just go off my wits.
Yeah, you can always roll just your base die, and you also get a +1 modification because they're so well known.
No wits by 1, or no nature by 1, and then roll it.
Yes. So yeah, no successes. You can push, but if you push, then there is going to be some sort of trauma you're going to take, because you only take trauma on the push.
Yeah, I'll just stick.
Okay. I mean, there's things everyone kind of knows about drones, but you're not going to get any more deeper information. But you do know that they have a tendency, like they show up. They can fight. They have ranged weaponry. They can do all sorts of different things. The specifics of what their weapons are, you probably don't really know entirely.
I'm just going to position myself so I'm not near the drones, but I still am within like a near distance between Hamill and Hamilton, so I can observe.
Okay.
Hamill's going to try to look for like cover to try to see if there's, are we near a corner or somewhere that she can kind of quickly pull.
Yeah, there's there's various things around. Like you can try to hide behind or take cover or pull Hamilton beside.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what you would see her doing, is just sort of like looking around frantically, trying to like look for, kind of some kind of assistance. She's definitely panicked.
Yeah, and most people are either freezing or ignoring you or shooing you. And anytime that like you try to tug on Hamilton, he's resistant. And each time you do that, you can tell that the drones are getting angry, or maybe not angry, but anyway, they're are gonna go ahead and roll an attack, and you're gonna see this eye turn red, and there's like this little laser shot coming out of one of the barrels.
Yikes.
Ooh.
Uh,
And I don't start off with any feral points, right?
yes, you do.
So I can't use my.
No, everyone starts off with 2 feral points, and so you always start a session off with however many animal so however many animal powers you have, that's the amount of feral points that you get. GMs, we get a total of the amount of feral points that the players start off with, and that's like a big pool that we use. Yeah. So anyway, you just so this thing kind of focuses in. It kind of is seeing you interfere, and it takes a shot at you.
I can use my small.
What does small do?
So every feral point I spend neutralizes one of the enemy's successes because I'm short, thin, and agile. So if an enemy succeeds in a fight or shoot roll against me.
Yeah. So as the shot comes down, you just very quickly kind of dodge out of the way of it. And you sort of roll in the dust a little bit. Hamilton is continuing to yell and chuck things at the drone, though. Now, Cujo, over by you, that kind of distant sound that you were hearing before has started to get a little bit louder, and you can hear some screams coming from the east. Go ahead if you want. You can roll. You can roll a scout check, a scout test if you want. If you want to try to get any more information. Okay, so you hear all sorts of these heavy rumbling vehicles, and as you peek up and out of the trench, you can see that these 5 huge, massive robots that are coming in your direction. Huge robots. They're just running over everything. What is Cujo doing?
I'm going to immediately run up to Hamill and tell her to come to her senses, and we need to protect ourselves. Hamilton needs to be escorted, and all we're going to do is get ourselves killed.
But it's my job to protect him. I can't just let him go.
So you run up, you grab, and as you do, Hamilton is he's saying, take her, help my sister, and he's just continuing to sort of chuck things, and he's saying, for the resistance. And then as you kind of look in the last moments as you're turning around the corner, he kind of stares at you one last moment, Hamill. And like you're still resisting, and he's just like, for the
I'm gonna physically pick up Hamill and kind of give her a grunt that says he's made his choice, and then start, running the other direction.
Okay. So as Hamill, who is like trying so hard to kind of like push past you and get back to Hamilton, the two of you turn around the corner, and before you do, you can see these sentinels come storming down from the ridgeline above the trench down into the trench where the bonfire is, rolling right over the bonfire, kicking kindling and charcoal in every which way. And you can see that one of them just scoops up Hamilton and wraps him up tightly, and they begin to head off. And
Hamill at this point will kind of be a little quiet, but has gone from like a shrieking to like a sobbing, because this was her job to protect him and take care of him, and this is incredibly distressing.
All right. So as the two of you run away with all the others to try to find some sort of shelter, we're going to go ahead and shift scenes. It's light out, morning time. It is immediately following the wild dance. And as we kind of zoom out away from the Badger tribe and then down again, we find ourselves in the cat habitat, which is a couple small ski lodge, these log cabins at the base of the western mountain And you can see that there are dozens of cats of different kinds, from house cats to lynxes, etc. You can see that they have created this kind of semicircle around 3 individuals that are kind of backed against the wall and bound, and they are rats. And they are screaming various things. They're saying, "We didn't do nothing. We did no harm. We were just hungry, hungry." And there's like 1 or 2 cats that are kind of standing out in front, like kind of poking them whenever they get too early. A bunch of different cats are kind of shouting here and there, saying to eat them or kill them or whatever. Ashley, would you be part of the crowd? Would you be off to the side? What would you be?
Oh, she's definitely a loner, so off to the side.
Okay, so as you're off to the side, you can hear a variety of conversations that are taking place. Some of them aren't so much conversations as just people shouting out, like from a crowd, like just kill them, and so we can go about on our day. I'm a bit tired. The wild dance took quite a bit out of me. And the rat's like, no, we didn't do nothing. We just were hungry. We didn't know. We were a little bit tipsy. We didn't know where we were. Some of the cats start kind of throwing things, and you just hear them boo and hiss and call, like for the rats to just be dealt with and get this over with now. A couple people start saying, this is not all what it seems. I heard that these rats were members of the resistance, and this is just an easy way for Octavia to get rid of some resistance members, but not, to appease the watchers, but not, anger the resistance members too. She's just playing down the middle again, constantly avoiding everything. Wonderful leaderships. Do you respond?
Helena is more of the type of person to where she won't confront them immediately, but there will be some sort of sly retribution later.
Okay.
Like they'll get mysteriously injured and then show up and she has to heal them, and then she'll refuse to heal them for a while.
You kind of look a bit around and let it happen, and you can see that eventually these fairly burly looking cats come out from one of the cabins and announce that a decision has been made, and a couple of them kind of grab the rats and start dragging them away and behind the cabin so that they're not in public view. And all the while they're screaming, "No, mercy, please." Are you doing anything?
She's kind of sitting there and she's filing her nails as she's just kind of watching, and just progressively making the tips of her nails sharper and sharper.
And so as you see them getting pulled away, you hear another voice sort of kick up behind you. You hear, "Such pity seeing animal on animal. It breaks my cold-blooded heart. I think I'm cold-blooded." And you look and you see that there's 2 lizards that have approached and joined the scene. One of them, an iguana with this sort of heavy coat, and every now and then his tongue just goes out and like takes a fly or something like that. "Yes, very sad. I don't think that this is the way to go about doing it. Until we are able to work together as many different animals, we will forever be under the watchful eyes of our oppressors, etc., etc." And then there's the other one. And Derek, you want to describe again?
Yeah, just a big trench coat full of a lot of like patches and just like a grizzled, grumpy looking face.
So I have to say that it's kind of interesting that you 2 creatures are fighting each other, when I heard that just recently there was a bit of a commotion where some of the badgers attacked some of the drones, the watchers, and you'll hear it fighting each other.
They actually fought it.
The fight might be a bit of extreme. Instead, they just they fled and froze. It's not very smart to attack them by themselves, especially individual tribe. One tribe can't necessarily do this, but perhaps if multiple tribes come together, if you are perhaps, kind of trying to make rat and cat come together, rabbit and bear and lizard and badger. If everybody just comes together, perhaps then we might be able to successfully doing that. But days like days, seeing these cats just go take those 3 rats, and I don't know what they're going to do, but I doubt it's going to be good. I don't know. What say you, Tchaikovsky?
Oh, whatever. Y'all are a bunch of idiots. I don't. There's just too much going on. I just want to be. Everyone needs to leave everything alone.
Yeah, we might want to leave everything alone, but there are many washers, and they come home, and then they big robots, and then they do this, and they hurt people, and they break houses, and I don't know.
Let me dismantle them. I'll put them in a good showroom.
That is interesting thought. Anyway. So you see him, this creature, this iguana, kind of looking off to both sides. He's looking to the left and to the right, occasionally taking a fly out of the air, kind of looking down. And now that people have kind of moved away, and he says, Ringo here for more than just the morning entertainment. While it was certainly tragic and dramatic, perhaps you might be interested in doing, a bit more for the valley. I wonder if perhaps you have other things that you would want to do, and maybe you might be tired of seeing animal on animal crime. Maybe you might, maybe you might tend to other things. I've been put in position to do certain recruiting, to make sure that every people who have skills and abilities are utilizing those, those skills and abilities in ways that might better suit, what they want out of life. And from what I have heard, you are a very capable healer. You make sure that certain people who have broken bones or who have cut their faces might go and be healed in ways. And I hear you make moonshine and potions, and there's many things I think that you could potentially contribute,
Yes, I've certainly had some experience.
That is a very smart way to put it. And he kind of just puts a finger against his nose as if he knows like there's some sort of communication going on. And he says, I could potentially find better uses for some of those abilities. Perhaps if you've had enough of the animal on animal crime, we might find other uses.
I think that could be arranged.
Good. I am glad that we could come to arrangement. We have other places to go.
Chai's gonna cackle. He's like, this one's gonna have the resistance stumbling over themselves all the time.
I agree, Tchaikovsky. You are very, very smart. You don't look it, but you say smart things sometimes. So at this point, you all kind of make your way out. The craziness has gone away. Whatever they've done to the rats behind the cabin, we'll figure out some other time. Instead, we're going to shift scenes once more back to the badger habitat. It's probably been a few days since the wild dance. There's all sorts of wreckage that's still apparent. Not that the badger tribe was ever particularly clean to begin with, so sometimes it's not entirely clear what has been what was destroyed and what was intact. But you can see that certain stalls and homes have been run over, and they're being repaired here and there. You can see that there's all sorts of graffiti that has suddenly shown up, this kind of paw on talon on claw kind of drawing, as if it was like they're all kind of putting their hands together. And you all generally know this as kind of a resistance symbol. And usually it gets scrubbed up pretty quickly. But today, or at least the last couple days, not so much. And occasionally you hear a person, much like Hamilton did, just shout out something in favor of the resistance or something anti-Watcher. And normally the Badger tribe stays out of this kind of stuff because they're so far away. But normally it's shouted down super fast. But today, last couple of days, not as much. The camera is going to continue kind of zooming down the street a bit, down one of the trenches, until we can see Cujo's den, and more specifically, we can see the shop that's attached to it. And inside, you can see that there's some people who are like still bandaged, and you see like there's wraps around their heads and people with injuries. You can see that Hamill is kind of still a bit shell-shocked, kind of hanging around at this point. Cujo is still nearby, and sweeping up, kind of cleaning up, making sure that all of the different stuff that got knocked down off tables, maybe they're hammer and nail, and kind of putting some of the legs back onto chairs, seeing if there's any glue around to make sure that like the broken pieces of bowls and pottery are kind of getting pieced together. And occasionally people kind of come inside and ask for help, or if they have something. But eventually you hear a little doorbell ring, a ding, and you can see that two figures are right there in the doorway, getting ready to come inside. One of them is a tall iguana who periodically takes a fly out like mid-flight out of the corner of its mouth without even stopping a beat. And the other, what do they look like, Long?
Yeah, just an orange-brown fox, got green eyes. I got my little propeller hat and my puffy jacket.
I'd forgotten.
Little youngster.
Ridiculous.
It's the best.
You have a lollipop too?
No. I have a staff though, Seer staff.
So Ringo looks to you and says, "Okay, we're here for both. So we make sure that we talk to them. They probably emotions running high. Very difficult night for them. Remember, we're here to communicate. We're here to see if we can get some of them to come over to our side. We are on very precise orders, right? So, which one do you want to take?"
I think we take them both.
Yes, that's the point. I'm saying, which one would you prefer to take yourself, and I'll take the other.
I think we take the big one.
Okay, you can go take the big one.
Of course.
Okay.
And we can hear them right now talking.
Absolutely. Yep.
So I'm just gonna get up and like get into the iguana's face and just like start snarling and just be like, "What do you want?"
Okie dokie, no reason to get upset. I am fine. You are fine. Eyes just kind of going all sorts of different ways. I am here to be peaceful and to see.
I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just staring at him right now.
To see if perhaps maybe you want to.
Oh, yeah, right. Hey, I'm sure you want to be part of the resistance, right?
It's a bit straightforward, but okay.
If we're going after Sentinels, I'm sure me and Hamill will be joining.
Oh, yes, we go after, not directly. We have plans and situational things that we must make sure that we put into place.
Hamill's gonna kind of pop up from the other side of the room and be like, no, not later. Everybody always says later. Now, they took my brother. What are we doing now?
Oh, no, we can't go now. There's much to prepare.
I don't know if there's anything we can do particularly about your brother, but we can always make sure if we do things now, we can protect other brothers and sisters and children and parents from, getting taken.
That's what everybody always says. Are you actually going to do anything?
Well, I mean, Ringo is doing something. Ringo is making sure I'm going around and recruiting people. Do you see? I am a recruiter, I recruit people. I have this
Jeff?
little name tag.
You're muted in stream again.
Okay, we're back. Should be working now. Don't know what happened. All sorts of wonderful screw ups tonight, but we'll work through it. It's only like the second stream of these. Okay, so where were we?
So Hamill is definitely kind of getting argumentative with Ringo. Like we've been talking about this resistance for so long, and now that it's her brother, it's personal. So she's definitely being a bit argumentative with him.
Better work with others like self than work on own. You can't do anything by self. You're very small. No offense. Don't.
Looks over at Cujo.
I'm not very big either. Just saying, more people together can do things, can rough and tumble. Myself, probably not rough and tumble very well.
What can you offer us?
It's not so much what Ringo can offer you. It's just who can Ringo connect you with. That is more. Again, recruiter. I bring people together.
So who do you know?
Someone who can help.
I'm just going to look over at Hamill and just raise one eyebrow. And I mean, we're not doing anything else, are we?
No, I mean, I want. I know you're going to tell me that I'm never going to see my brother again, but I have to hope that maybe we can do something somewhere for someone else. So I guess, I mean, I would rather do something today, but I'm in.
Okie dokie. Sounds good. Okay. You, little one,
And he starts petting McCloud.
go tell others to. You show way. You smart little fox. You know way. I will wait as these get ready.
All right, you guys better keep up, and then I can get on all fours and start going.
Okay. What happens to your staff when you go on all fours?
It just goes on my back.
I thought maybe you just drop it on the ground and everywhere you go, you just pick up a new staff. Man, this is really expensive. Okay.
It's not like a fancy staff. It's just like a twig.
All right. So, as So Ringo kind of waits around for you all for the two of you to kind of collect your things. He also does and goes, does his job, which is go around and collect some scrap, do some trading. And after a couple hours or so, once you've settled your affairs, gotten your things, you begin to head out of the tribe, or out of the habitat. Right now, it's just the two from the Badger tribe. It's Ringo.
We catch up quick. No worry. Not far. You know about helicopter, right? Big thing. They call it copter, dropper, get to the chopper, something like this. Not sure. But we go there. Just this way.
And he's leading you through, like, out of the, you're completely out of the actual habitat at this point. And the two of you would know of the helicopter crash. It's a crash site, kind of overrun. No one really goes over there. But it's kind of off limits for a variety of reasons. But it's just the three of you, like,
that little dog, quite fast. Doesn't look fast. Looks quite, not very smart, but kept telling me things. Like, he kept trying to read he said something like horoscope or something, saying things. I don't understand. Very weird. But come this way.
And as the kind of two you are following, you see him periodically. He'll lean down, and there'll be like a flower, like on the, like, sprouting up out of this heavy grass, this long grass. There'll be like a butterfly, and then just like out of the corner of his mouth, without even trying, his head not even turning, he just grabs something and pulls it in.
Oh, always the best butterflies near helicopter. Love it.
And it's at that point that Cujo and Hamill, you begin to feel the earth around you start to shake a bit. He's up ahead, and he's just sort of like sniffing flowers and just snatching all these different butterflies. I need you to go ahead and roll scout tests. Okay.
Not gonna push that.
Yeah, it's not very great. All right.
I'm rolling a scout also.
Mm-hmm. You both can do it. That's fine.
Nothing.
All right, I'm gonna roll a sneak against it. It's called an opposing check. We basically just see who has the most successes. Essentially, that's what's happening. All right, there it is.
Ooh.
Oh, that's terrible.
Stalemate.
That's terrible. But I don't have any. I don't have any things. There we go. Okay, I'll take the trauma. All right, it's not gonna work. But what suddenly happens, and you can feel it. You can see something piercing up from this muddy ground near you, Cujo, as this large shape erupts out of the ground beneath your feet. You're quick enough, both of you, to sort of see it coming. And as it erupts, you can see this mottled, brownish colored skin, this large maw with these thick teeth. You can see that it's completely eyeless, and it begins to sort of charging at you all. So we're gonna go ahead and do our first combat here. See how this looks. See if this looks okay. All right, so I gotta close that. Ignore that for a second. As I will move you over. See if this works. All right, do you have a sight of
dear?
Let me scroll that down a little bit so they can see too. All right.
Is it a land shark?
That is a land shark.
Oh shit!
Quite literally, land shark. I thought about getting like Chevy Chase and a land shark suit coming out, but I didn't do it. So I need you both to go ahead and roll initiative. So just roll a straight D6.
Classic Hamill.
the bright side, you guys, it didn't succeed on its stealth, so it doesn't get a bonus, unfortunately, on its initiative. So that kind of sucks, but oh well.
Who's that fourth thing? That's not McCloud, is it? That's another enemy. The one that's orange.
That's Ringo.
That's Ringo.
Oh, okay.
All right, just let me set.
That is your buddy.
Uh.
He talks like this.
So it's just the three of them
It's a
that are
little
seeing
bit like
this scene,
Cheech and
right?
Chong.
What's that? What was that, Derek?
It's just the three of them that are involved that see this, right?
For now.
'Cause my map's just gray. Okay.
For now. All right, let me roll for good old Ringo as well. All right, so we've got Land Sharks out of 5. Hamill is at a 1. Classic. Ringo 3. Cujo. All right. All right, so the land shark, as it erupts out of the ground, as if sensing your very movements, will go ahead and try to lower and chomp down its massive maw onto Cujo. So I'm going to roll. All right. Let's see how I did. All right, 1 success. Oh my god, I'm rolling terrible. This game sucks. Just kidding. I like all these other games, right? I roll really well. Okay. So that's a success. You can choose at this point, Cujo. You can, if you want, you can defend. But if you do, that takes up your action. So that means when it comes around to your turn, you won't be able to do anything other than move or take a maneuver. It's up to you. Otherwise, the attack will go through.
Sorry, say that again.
So it's attacking you in close combat. And so if you want, you can choose to defend. If you do so, it will take up your action on your turn, meaning when it comes to your turn next, all you're going to be able to do is maneuver. You wouldn't be able to actually make an attack or anything like that.
We don't have Helena in our party yet, huh?
Mm-mm.
I guess yeah, I'll probably try and defend.
Okay, so go ahead and roll fight.
Oh.
Okay, so the thing.
Fuck.
Jeez.
Wow.
Jeez. Okay.
Where's my triple counterattack?
All right.
4 successes.
So not only do you manage to prevent it from hitting you, you can, when you roll successes when you defend, you can use stunts. Okay, so anytime you roll a specific check and you have more successes than you need, there's certain stunts you can do. So obviously, the first one that you would probably spend one of your successes on is to eliminate 1 success. So you've done that. But now, so he's not going to do any damage to you, but you're going to get 3 stunts that you can actually do. So you could increase your initiative score. You could try to tire the enemy and do like points of fatigue. You can try to push
Isn't
it
there
back.
a takedown?
Am
I misremembering that?
No, not on defense. No. You can knock him down, but you don't really see any feet, so you're not really sure how useful that's going to be.
I heard if you flip a shark onto its back underwater, it actually falls asleep. So
really, probably the most like what you could probably do is you can increase your initiative score. So next time around, you would go first, and you can also probably do a point of fatigue against it as well.
Let's go with that.
Or actually, now that I look at it again, you can counterattack against your enemy and inflict weapon damage.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought there was a counterattack.
But you cannot. You can't increase the damage by using several successes. So you can use one of your 4 successes to block the attack.
The attack, and then I have 3 more.
And you get 3 more. So you can use 1 to increase your initiative. You can use 1 to do fatigue, and then you can use 1 to do a point of damage. You can do weapon damage back to him.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, so let's increase that. So on the next turn, and the next time around, you will actually go first. It will take a point of fatigue. And then it also will take a point of damage. Okay, good deal. All right, then it's your turn. So you can maneuver if you want, but otherwise, you can't actually use your action for anything.
Is there banking action points in this?
No,
There's
no.
not, huh? Because it's just one maneuver and then one action, right?
Right.
Per turn. Okay.
Just roll.
I'll just try and maneuver behind it, I guess, to
Okay.
get just positional advantage.
Okay. So you can go. You have control. You can move your guy. Each square is like 2 yards. You can move like 5 squares on a maneuver. So you're welcome to just pick and drag. Ringo will run.
Ringo, go get help. You've got this. Seems good.
And so he's going to move and run like the wind away.
I'm just gonna yell out, "Oh, you coward!"
Not coward, just being smart.
And then it'll be Hamill's turn.
Hamill has a sling and a knife, and those seem kind of tiny looking at this land chart. So she is initially going to kind of do a double maneuver, kind of out of the way, and then kind of see how things go.
Move your character.
Does the slingshot have the same stats as a sling?
It's just a sling. It's just
not listed under the
weapons. I see places for both slingshot and sling. I think the bonus and stuff. I'll look it up later, but I noticed the same thing a little earlier. I just never figured out the answer to it.
There, I moved myself kind of behind the bush.
Okay. I mean, that's one maneuver. You can still, if you want to, throw a shot with your sling. Or you can load, because you have to ready.
I'll do that.
So you'll do that. Perfect. And then we'll go back to the start. And all of a sudden, as Ringo is running eastward, he's shouting and shouting and shouting. Tchaikovsky, Helena, and the hell is your name log? McCloud. I forgot. Stupid. So dumb. You see this lizard running at you as you're kind of lingering around the edges of this large helicopter crash. I'll go ahead and put you on the map now. So, and Tchaikovsky.
It was Fog of War. Makes sense now.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't so much that. I just didn't have you on the map. Still getting used to a lot of this stuff. Bear with me. I don't normally play with Roll20, so this is fun. All right. So you can see this guy running up, and you know him at this point. You've all met him. You know it's Ringo. He's sort of the recruiter, and he's like,
"Help! Big thing! Bite people back there! Go help! Show
Ringo, what the hell are you talking about? You're talking nonsense again."
So the three of you can go ahead and now roll your initiatives. So just roll a d6. There's also a button you can just roll. All right. Helena. 4. All right. So then we start up another round as you are all in it. And the first to go is actually going to be Cujo this time.
And as far as using a skill goes, that counts as my action, right?
Yes. Anytime an action is basically whenever you roll a skill check or whenever you use an animal power.
Alrighty. I'm just going to measure enemy.
Okay. Go ahead and roll.
Did I do that right?
It looks like you rolled. No, it looks like you only rolled 1 dice.
I don't know how that works then. As far as the special skills go in Roll20.
You should be in the special spot, the advanced roll.
Yeah, I have it. I put it in. Oh, an advanced roll? Oh, yeah. Okay.
So where it says total, just put your numbers in for what you would have, like how many base die you would have, and then you can roll them. So you got what? 1 skill.
Yeah, I have 1 skill and then 3 for instinct, so I'm rolling 4 basically, right?
No, you do. You put 3 in your bit. How much do you have for? Oh, you have 4 in instinct, so 4 base and 1 skill, and then you should hit the. I think you should hit the D6 right on the advanced roll tab. Okay, so there you go. Yep, that worked that time. Okay, so you got 1 success.
Okay.
Okay. And do you want to maneuver at all?
I'm just gonna stay behind it if this is in the right positioning.
Okay, so you get your measure enemy bonuses for next time around. Then it's gonna go next. It's still 5, so it's going to suddenly, it's gonna suddenly dive back beneath the ground, back the way it came, and you don't see it anywhere, but you feel the earth rumble a little bit. Helena. So you've got this iguana who recruited you come chasing in, and he's like screaming, "Big thing, fight them, bite them, go help." What do you do?
Considering Helena's the healer, she's gonna if she hears about a big thing attacking people, she'll probably head in to see if everybody's okay.
Okay.
But keeps some sort of safe distance.
Okay. So you can move in a single maneuver 5 squares on this map. And if you want, you can always take 2 maneuvers. And so you can move 10 squares. And you know that it's coming to the west. So you can go ahead and move your character. You have control. And then
which way am I moving?
West. So to the left side of the screen. That's where it's coming from. And Tchaikovsky, you're next.
Yeah, I'm going to grumble to myself. You can't handle this stuff yourself. You've got to drag me into this one. I leave my wagon. I'm going to leave my wagon where I'm at, and I will also move west.
Okay. Ringo will move in the direction of a tree and hide behind it and say, "Good job." And you'll see him start to load a sling.
Ringo, don't touch any of my stuff in my wagon, I swear.
I would never have dreamed of it. You're too paranoid.
And then finally, McCloud.
Yeah, hop off and maneuver twice.
Of the clan McCloud. Never mind. You don't get Highlander. Okay. See if they can get some more of it. Okay, there we go. All right. So Cujo, you saw this.
Wait. I think I'm lost.
Are you? Oh yeah, you are. My bad. I'm sorry.
So where did it go? Did it go out of my
Dove
range?
right back in. You do not see it. You
Okay,
felt
so-
briefly as it dove in initially. It was like rumblings, but then you lost it after that.
Okay. So I am going to come over here. So kind of still hiding, but just kind of still looking for it a little bit.
Okay, so you're gonna run behind a little berry bush there. Okay.
Yeah, from one side of the berry bush to the other side of the berry bush, and then I'm basically going to kind of repeat my prepare.
Okay. All right. You feel once more, Hamill, the ground kind of shake around you, but you can't quite see it. Cujo, what do you want to do?
I'm going to use one of my feral points, and I'm going to burrow under the ground.
Okay, nice. Very nice. And then you have a maneuver still if you like to move.
I'll probably... I can move up to 30 feet, I believe, since I burrowed.
It's yards, so check. So
is it yards?
Yeah, it's
okay.
Check yards. So each square is like 2 yards.
So I can pretty much go wherever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna stay close to Hamill still, I guess.
Okay. So I need Hamill to go ahead and roll a scout test. Okay. I cannot roll successes to save my life.
You got one success.
I know, but it's not very good. So he's got this ability where he actually can get like sneaks like every time around and everything. So he kind of go down. It's like the thing you were asking to do. But he comes out and he's going to try to take a bite out of Hamill this time. As you see him burst up right out of the ground.
Oh, well, hello there, Mr. Landry.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Maybe can we just talk this out?
No.
Well, combat banter.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna eat you.
It's gonna knock on the door. Who is it? Hand shark.
Andy Graham.
Okay. So Hamill, he just bit into you successfully. You can choose if you want to defend, or you could keep your action this turn. One of the two.
I would like to defend. What do I roll for defend?
Just roll fight. Okay.
No.
Don't forget you can push. So you can choose to push if you want, but if you push, you do risk taking some sort of trauma and also getting feral points. You've already rolled one biohazard on your base die, so you will be taking 1 point of damage at minimum from pushing. It's your call if you want to do it.
I'm also being bitten by a land shark, so I think I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot.
Okay.
Oh my god.
No.
So
0 successes and 4 total failures.
So as you try to sort of dodge out of the way of it, as the maw is coming down, you just sort of
dodge into it.
Yeah, you stick your head
into
its
the
mouth.
shark.
You're like, it's never going to expect this. It's never going to expect this. So there's 2 things you need to do. On your character sheet, you go ahead and take 3 feral points. All right. And then also you need to take 3 damage. So what does that put you at in terms, 3 strength damage? What does that put you at?
So I have 4 total strength. So now I have 1 total strength.
Because if you're ever reduced to 0, which you're about to be in a second, you actually have to roll for critical injury. So the shark is going to, because he actually succeeded, will actually bite onto you, and I will do a bunch of damage. So enough damage to actually push you to 0. So you can go ahead and just move your strength down to 0 at that point. And then you can roll a d66 for an injury.
Well, welcome to MutantYearzero.
I think it was awesome.
So just roll 2d6s, and that'll essentially be a 66.
I think there's a way to roll a d66 on your character sheet if you roll under conditions.
Conditions will do it.
Yeah.
Tell me what you got.
Okay. There it is.
What'd you get?
55.
55.
That's a damaged spine. So
Oh.
it is not lethal.
No punch is pulled.
Paralyzed from the waist down.
Oh gosh.
Effect is
We already a paraplegic already?
the effect is permanent unless healed during healing time. Roll 4d6, Melissa.
Oh dear.
My.
Oh dear.
Gosh.
This shark is not
You know how you've been
messing
trying so long to kill my character in Zweihander? You're just gonna
around. It's
this is where it happens.
Exactly. So what'd you get for 46?
3, 2, 4, and 3 for a total of
Just
12.
12. Okay, so I think it's like 12 hour. I think it's 12 hours. You have 12 hours to be healed, something like that. I gotta look.
oh, interesting.
So, and if you're not healed within that window, then you will be permanently paralyzed from the waist down.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well,
Never mind. I like this game. And so Cujo, you watch this creature erupt again from the ground, and for some reason Hamill like tries to kind of punch it with her arm, like as if she's doing that whole punch the shark in the snout thing, and that just like tears this scratch along her arm, and you think, okay, it can't get much worse than that. Then it bites her, and then she is kind of fallen a little bit limp, and she's still kind of hanging and angling in its mouth.
Just a tooth embedded in her spine.
Yeah. Okay. So then it is going to be Helena's turn.
you hear a screaming of pain, by the way, just in case
Yeah.
there was any question about
blood
that.
curdling scream. It's like the part in Jaws when Quint was getting bit in half. It's like that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. What? So you've done? You just moving up a little closer?
Yeah, I'm just moving.
Okay. And then after that, it'll be Ringo, who will cautiously begin to move forward at this point. I guess. And then he will reload re-ready his sling. He's pretty useless.
He's like, "Hey guys, there is a bunch of boxes here."
Yeah, I found some things right here.
Tchaikovsky, what do you want to do?
All right. Let's see, I'm not in sight of it, so I will spend 1 action to move. No, that's not the right thing. Move 5. All right. Now I just need to measure. So the sling can go 20 to 30 yards. How do we? Is that like based on like cover or something?
No, there's no. You don't have to worry about in this case because he's got no cover. He's 20 yards away
Okay.
from you.
Yeah, I was just about to measure that. Cool. So then I will I'll use my next action to just, throw something with my sling.
Okay, so slings usually have to get loaded first. So you moved up, then you loaded, and so on your next turn you'll be able to throw.
Gotcha. Yeah. So basically, I'm just twirling it.
Yeah, so you're just like you're putting the sock or putting the sock. What am I talking about? Putting the rock in the sock or something of such. All right, Hamill, you are broken. You can still maneuver, but you can't actually do anything else.
So am I still in its mouth?
That was just flavor. You're not actually in its mouth. You're just
okay.
It bit you. You can still you
broke
can
my spine and spit me out.
You can kind of crawl away like
that's
just pull yourself with your arms.
We'll say you move at like half speed or something, so you can move like 2 speed like
yeah. I'm gonna double maneuver to the other side of the berry bush. Like kind of inside the berry bush a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think you get to.
Oh, that's right, because I defended, so I only get 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll come.
Okay. You defended so well. I mean, like really tip top.
It's the worst roll.
Okay. And then it'll be at this point McCloud's turn.
I'll maneuver it as close as I can.
Okay.
We've got backup.
Cujo, what do you want to do?
New round, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what did I get from my measure enemy?
What you just got the 1 success. So what was the benefit of just a successful roll? You didn't have any
you have to tell me your highest level attribute and skill.
All right, highest level attribute is strength at 6, and skill is I'll give you 2 because they're both 4. Fight and sneak.
Okay, so you've taken 1 damage so far.
Yes.
So it's just 1 strength damage. All right, and I'm currently burrowed, so I'm going to. I guess I will maneuver between Hamill and the shark.
Okay.
And then I will attack. So how do weapon bonuses work when you roll? Do you just add that as like a gear dice, basically?
Correct. Yeah. Okay. Your weapon bonus is literally when that little window pops up. That's the number you put in.
Okay. So, and then I'm getting an extra +1 from my talent weapon master. Am I adding that as a dice, or is that just a +1 to the actual
increase your
roll?
skill die by 1? So temporarily increase skill by 1.
Okay.
And then you can lower. That's the easiest way to do it.
Alrighty. So I'm fighting.
Go for it. Okay. 1 success. A lot of non-successes. Do you want to push that?
Yeah.
Do it.
So I just hit the blue arrow, right?
Just hit the blue arrow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. A whole lot of nothing.
Oh,
1 more success.
It was 1 success. So what's the weapon damage?
I believe it's 1.
Okay. So if your weapon damage is 1, I can roll my armor, see if it goes through. So my armor has a rating of 4, which means I roll 4d6s. And if I get any 6s, which I do, I cancel out a point of damage. So you scrape away at it, and you realize that this thick dermis is it's very difficult to kind of penetrate that. And your attack, while effective initially, it made contact, didn't kind of break the skin. Okay, and then it'll be its turn, and it'll just bite you right back. since you're right there.
Oh no, not another spine.
And it will roll 2 successes. I'm not going to push that. So do you want to defend? Now, even though it's the same turn, you can still defend. But what this does is it means next round, when it comes to your turn again, you won't be able to. You won't be able to do an action.
Yeah, I'll defend.
Go for it. So roll fight.
Am I still getting the bonus for my fangs and claws for defense, or is that only when I'm attacking?
I think it's whenever you roll fight. And this technically is fight.
Okay.
Okay, and you managed to cancel both of its hits. Well done. And so
Going toe to toe. That's what I like doing.
It's pretty good, actually. This tiny, compared to the land shark, which is like 15 feet long, you're, I don't know, what, 4 feet? What do you think?
Yeah, I'd say about 5'2".
5'2"? Yeah, this thing's 3 times your size. And as everyone starts to kind of come into its orbit, you see, all right, Helena, what do you want to do?
Just trying to buy time.
I think it'll maneuver a little bit too. It'll start.
It's not done with Hamill. It's just.
it's like I don't know. This one's a little harder to hit. Plus, it's like maybe I want the others to get closer. Helena, what do you want to do?
I want to spend a feral point so I can double my movement during one turn. So I'm going to try and get towards Hamill.
Okay.
Can I move diagonally or no?
Yes, diagonal's totally fine in this game, and it does. It'll like you. Do you know how to use the ruler?
10.
The ruler will tell you, but like everything's sort of the same.
Okay, yeah, I just moved 10 squares.
Perfect. Ringo, what do you want to do?
I think I'll stay here.
Let me see. I will go ahead and chuck. I think I'm in range. Yep, just barely in range. I think Ringo is going to go ahead and with his sling shoot at the large thing eating Cujo. Well, actually not actually eating Cujo, being very ineffective.
Yeah, we're going toe to toe right now.
In the toe.
Claw to
toe.
All right, so
From downtown.
Not bad.
it will roll 2 successes, which will do okay. So then I'm not going to roll defense, so that's going to do a total of 2 damage. I will roll armor to see if it gets through. I'm just going to roll it on Ringo's, just because I have his character sheet up. And both of those damages go through actually onto the shark. So it's taking a couple hits, and then it goes to Tchaikovsky. What would you like to do?
Awesome.
You loaded up on the previous, so you can use your action to chuck if you want.
Yeah, I think I was also going to. Isn't there an aim carefully as like one action? So one action to like aim carefully to give a +1, and then.
Yes, but there's only one action and one maneuver per turn. You loaded a maneuver. By the way, excuse me. It's a maneuver to load. And then it's an action to aim carefully. So if
I did the aim carefully, I'd have to wait till another turn to shoot it. Gotcha. Right. Okay. Then I'll probably just shoot.
Okay.
So I'm gonna. All right, and then that. Wow.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm much further, and I still hit.
You know what? I don't want to hear right now, Rango. I'm not in the mood. I got a giant shark biting stuff. Shut up.
All right. Do you want to push that?
Yeah, I'll go for it.
Ooh.
Oh,
very nice. Okay.
With the shit talk from Ringo.
Yeah, that kind of got me more
back
focused.
way farther and launches it.
My eyes go in different directions. I didn't really see that well.
All right. I'll roll its defense, and then we can determine damage really quick. I'm rolling crap. So all your damage goes through. So what do you got? How much damage did you do?
So it's a 1 damage weapon.
Okay, so you do 1 damage with a success, and then you have 1 success to do a stunt with. Most commonly, you just add a damage to it. So you can do 2 damage if you want.
Yeah, I was just double checking to see. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go for the damage.
Okay, perfect. And it's going to go through because I can't roll my armor for shit. Awesome. It's actually starting to take a couple hits here and there.
It's
Hamill,
really bleeding.
it's starting to bleed. Hamill, what would you like to do?
Hamill is going to see if she can maneuver herself around kind of the side of the berry bush and prepare the sling again.
So you're
Trying
paralyzed.
really, really hard not to keep
And
screaming. in
Helena's
pain.
like, excuse me, you should be coming this way.
Okay.
You're behind me. I don't see you. I'm looking at the really big shark that just stopped my spine.
I know, that's what she's calling out to you.
You can see in the grass like the blood trail where it's just like going down and then back up. It's like, what's going on here? All right. Then it'll be McCloud.
Oh, we got a massive one. I'll just run up, pull out my staff, and give it a quick bop on the nose.
Go for it. You probably already had. I'll say you already had your staff out because technically, because you mentioned you were carrying it. So, because technically, I think getting like readying a weapon or getting a weapon out as a maneuver. But you probably already had it out.
Okay.
So go ahead. Move on up. Do you want to push that at all?
It's nothing.
I didn't see. What does pushing do?
So pushing is re-rolling everything that wasn't a 1 or a 6. Now the danger is that if you roll any ones on your yellow dice or on your gear dice, you take either trauma or your gear can potentially break. You're not actually. You said you had a staff, right?
Mhm.
So what do you know the stats on your staff?
Yeah.
So your staff, does it have a bonus at all?
No, I think it's just. Wait, it's 1 actually. Yeah.
Okay, so roll 1d6 right now. Just roll on its own from the upper left. This is your gear dice. So it's the thing that, remember how there's that pop-up window? So you rolled a 1 in your gear dice. Okay, so now here's what's going to happen. If you decide to push, that means that 1 is going to count, because right now it doesn't count. 1s don't count on the first roll. They only count in the second roll. And so in this case, if you were to push, you'll re-roll all of your green and yellow dice to see if you can get any successes, because you don't have any currently. But any 1s that you roll will now count. So if you roll a 1 on your yellow die, you'll take trauma. So in this case, you'll take strength damage because you're rolling the fight skill. And that 1 that you just rolled in your gear dice means that your staff will take damage. And so the bonus will go down, which means since it was only at +1, means your staff will break and you wouldn't be able to repair it unless somebody has the mechanics talent.
Oh.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mechanic for a wood.
So you're totally pushing this, right?
How often can I push? Like every time I roll?
Once per skill. There are certain situations where you're not allowed to push things, but this is not one of those situations. So, but a basic attack, you can always push that if you want. But again, that 1 that you rolled in your gear dice automatically means that your staff will break.
Oh, okay.
If you push it. Right now, it doesn't count. It only counts if you push. 1s only count towards negative effects if you're pushing.
All right, I'm good.
All right, we're gonna go to the top of the round, and Cujo, you're up, man. Got this little fox guy with his little freaking beanie helicopter.
Yeah, since I defended the last tech, I don't have an action, so I'm just going to try and maneuver close to him again.
Okay.
Just to kind of maintain presence in front of him, so hopefully he'll keep targeting me.
Jazz hands a little bit, boogity.
Yeah.
Okay. He also doesn't have eyes, so it doesn't really help.
He doesn't have eyes?
No, he doesn't.
He's gonna smell you, Melissa.
They're starting to sound more and more like a graboid to me.
I think I'm gonna roll a d6. On a 1 to 3, I'm attacking Cujo. On a 4, 5, or 6, I'll attack. Actually, since you're making noise, a 1 to 4, I'll attack Cujo, and a 5 or 6, I'll attack McCloud. This is 6, so I'm gonna attack McCloud. So it's gonna take a bite out of McCloud.
Ooh, he's got that thick fur.
All right. That go through?
Didn't see it.
There it goes. Okay.
Success.
1 success. I think I'm going to go ahead and... Oh, I guess it just lagged a bit. Roll 20's been lagging a little bit because so many people are playing lately. So
So since you pushed that roll,
well played. Okay, so McCloud, you can choose to defend if you want. That means you lose your action on your next turn.
No.
Okay, so then you will take weapon damage from it. So weapon damage from a land shark's bite is 2. So you take 2 damage.
Okay, I'll use my fury power.
Okay.
Your furry power.
Yeah, furry power.
Feral power.
So I got
Animal power.
my thick fur, so it'll reduce the damage by
Okay.
1 if I spend 1 FP.
Okay. All right. So that reduces it to 1. Okay, so then it'll be Helena's turn.
Okay. Can I heal like on the battleground?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to move since she moved away from me.
Since you're quite literally trying to fix her partially broken spine, I'm not really sure exactly.
Well, she's bleeding right now. I just kind of want to like.
So there's 2 things here. There's 2 things that your heal check can do. So when you say, can you heal somebody, like patch them up and bandage them up and give them back stuff? Yes, you normally can do that. But there are but like in this case, trying to do the heal that gets her fixed is different. Like what that means is that you're trying to like care for her injury. So in Zweihander terms, think of the difference between bandaging somebody and performing surgery. Right?
Okay.
That's kind of what we're doing here. So you can't really perform surgery. But because she has a critical, so she currently has a critical injury and she's broken. What that means, if I remember, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember if broken means that you can't. So
broken is actually can't carry on, so I actually would have just stayed where I was because I was broken.
You always can use a maneuver. Like you literally can always maneuver away. That's why I said you can use a maneuver. Like loading the sling's not working, but like just hiding in the bush is fine.
Okay.
You can try to get her back up, I think.
Yeah, you can heal me so that I'm not broken.
But this is not like a surgery. So yes.
Yeah, no. Okay.
So yeah, okay. So go ahead and get close to her with your maneuver and then roll your heal check. There's no negative modification for this because you're doing it. So yeah, so go ahead and roll your heal check.
So then she got 1 success, so I'd be healed by 1.
Should be healed by 1. You can push it if you want, Ashley, but
there's already.
But you would take at the very least 1 point of instinct, so 1 point of doubt, trauma.
I'll hold off on that because I'll try and heal you again because I can just repeat heal, right?
At the very least, she's not broken, which means she can now take 2 maneuvers a turn, effectively running away. Being paralyzed, I mean, you could still throw a sling, I suppose, from the ground, but we'll go from there. Ringo will spend an action then to load up his sling once more. Or excuse me, we'll take a maneuver to do it, and then he will take an action to aim carefully. And then it'll be Tchaikovsky's turn.
Yeah, I'm going to, instead of maneuver, I'm going to prepare my sling, and then I'll use my action to fire said sling.
Perfect.
So let me find shoot. Bam.
Ooh.
You can push if you like, but you will be taking a point of fatigue, excuse me.
Right, because I pushed once before.
Mm-hmm.
And the fatigue would come from my agility, correct? Because that's the skill I'm using?
Correct.
Gotcha.
Fatigue is trauma in agility. Like
right.
they all the different attributes have different names for the type of trauma. There's damage, fatigue, confusion, and doubt.
Yeah. I'll try it.
Go for it. Oh shit.
Not as bad as mine, but pretty bad.
So you take
you exploded.
A couple things happen. You take 2 feral points, and you take 2 points of fatigue, and
3 points of fatigue.
No, just 2.
So the feral would go from 2 to 4, correct?
Correct. Because you haven't spent any yet.
Right.
And then you've got what's the bonus on your sling?
That's a 1.
So it's down to 0 now. It's broken.
Okay.
So do you have did you take mechanics?
No.
Okay. So then someone's gonna have to you're gonna have to try to figure out at some point when you go back to a habitat somebody who can repair that for you. Okay. Hamill, it's your turn.
She will thank her new cat friend for the heal, and will ready a sling for next time.
Okay.
You want to trade slings?
Seems a little bit inappropriate.
Broken sling for a broken body.
All right, then McCloud. Jesus. McCloud's your turn.
All right, let's try that again. I'll swing with my staff. Whoa!
3 successes.
Oh, the big DPS.
All right, I will roll. Sorry. I just accidentally took off my screen.
Nicest shot.
All right, I will roll for my armor to see what goes through.
Mm-mm.
And
That's a big
nothing.
slap.
So all of it goes through.
That's a dead shark.
And you see suddenly it just sort of seems to be breathing quite heavily. All right. So Cujo, what do you want to do?
What do you do with your extra successes?
You can choose to just do extra damage to it. You can move yourself into initiative. You can tell that this thing is trying to burrow as if it looks like it's getting ready to try to flee, being kind of overwhelmed by the sudden appearance of all of these other creatures. So you can choose to just dump all of that into damage, or you can do something else with them. So it's up to you. There's a lot of different things. You can look in the conflict primer for some options.
Oh, so you can take all 3 in damage.
Yeah, damage can always be taken multiple times.
Okay, so I can like split them.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do an extra damage and knock them down.
Okay. And
If
then,
it's coming from out of the ground, how does it get knocked down?
yeah, I'm not really sure either.
Oh, it's coming out of the ground. What the fuck?
Yeah,
You sweep the dorsal fins out from underneath it.
it falls. It stands up. It's like complete opposite. It's like sitting on its fin.
I'll do damage and fatigue then.
Okay. Very good. Wow. That's okay. This thing's fucked up, man.
Good.
And then finally, Cujo. You want to go? You want to do something? You can see this thing's wheezing.
You said it takes an action to ready a weapon, right?
To get one out. Yeah, to get a new one out. Like if you've been using one thing and now you're using something else.
Okay. Then I will just attack with my fangs and claws.
Okay. Success.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it just be? Couldn't he just use his maneuver to ready his weapon and then use his action to attack?
Actually, that's true. That's a good point. I keep thinking action is to get one out, but it's actually a maneuver. And you were
Okay.
range. Yeah.
No problem. It just cost me 1 die. I got 2 successes anyway, so
Ooh.
I get a success, and then I get a stunt, right?
Let me see if I can get my damage goes through. Yeah, none of it goes through.
Right.
Yeah. So, what do you want to do?
I'm going to jump at the shark, and I'm going to try and get up on its back and bury my claws into its gills.
Sure.
If land sharks have gills? I imagine no, but wherever its gills would be, I'm going to try and dig my claws into its.
So you all see as this Wolverine hops on its back, holding on to the dorsal fin with one arm, and then the other one just jamming this claw right between these gills and the side, reaches in and just yanks anything out, drops it to the ground, and you see like a balloon deflating the shark just go
This 5'2" being just scaled.
and like
it.
and like pumpkin juice just starts to like a graboid just starts to spill out everywhere, and it is most certainly dead.
Hey, that's the first combat.
All right.
Broke into the wrong goddamn rec room, didn't you, you bastard?
Okay. So as you all watch this thing deflate and die, Helena, a quick observation of Hamill's injuries suggests that this is quite serious. And that
Hamill is now definitely screaming like, I can't move my legs, I can't move my legs, I can't move my legs.
Okay. Ringo comes running up and says,
We are very close to helicopter rooms, places to sit. Come.
and as you see him coming up, you see a bear. This kind of light fur color comes up as well, and she starts shouting. She says, "Yes, come to the chopper. We will find a place." And as a few of you probably help Helena move Hamill carefully, Wild Paw and kind of goes off. A few of you stay back, kind of breaking down the land shark for if there's anything that you can get from it. And
Oh yeah.
and Ringo says,
Wild Paw, hurry, quick, he is waiting. If she is here, he is here too. We must go fast.
Am I able to take a shark's tooth and put it in my collection?
absolutely, go right ahead.
Ooh.
For sure.
Ringo, I told you not to chase the butterflies. You got to pay attention, man.
All right. So, as you start all matriculating towards the helicopter, everyone moves inside. It's a fairly large helicopter. Like all of us would know, like it's a fairly big, like military helicopter sort of. And so there's a significant amount of room. The interior, you notice, has in some way been kind of fixed in such a way that like there's different rooms. Like you can see like there's like a unfurled hammock hung from two different sides of the wall. You can see that there's a large circular table. There's signs of like canned foods that like these little bits of like canned chili and stuff that have been opened and emptied and discarded. Somebody has likely been living here. You see a couple bedrolls as well, so there's probably room for more. The bear who had come over and was helping Helena move Hamill into the chopper kind of helps lay her down, and she introduces herself as Wild Paw, and she offers to kind of like put some rumpled up like jacket underneath her head. But Helena, if you want, you can try to make a heal check to treat her. Again, this needs to be successful, or she could be paralyzed for life.
That's not at all stressful.
I don't want to
No
suggest
pressure.
I don't want to suggest that Melissa's presence in the campaign.
Got it.
You did get it. Do you want to push it? Maybe you can get
Don't
some.
push it.
Just totally push that.
No.
All right. So, if you look at the trauma injuries, like it'll tell you a little bit more about healing. But basically, because you were doing it and she wasn't, you can kind of get in there. You got your probably little bag, little tools. You got your, kind of reaching in, almost like a chiropractor. It looked like something didn't necessarily pierce. It was more just something kind of got like dislocated in a way. That was her limbs, her legs are kind of numb still, but they're slowly regaining feeling. And over the next couple hours, as you all take a break and recover, you start to get that feeling back a bit.
Hamill's very appreciative.
Yeah.
That was really scary, and she's hoping to make a full recovery, but very, very appreciative.
So as like the night progresses, or the day progresses, the sun starts to go down, and you all at this point are kind of huddled around this central table, and Wildpaw has given you like each a ration of whatever food was in the area. Ringo is taking a nap, just kind of like a good day's work, no problem. He had spent a couple hours going through whatever he traded, but at this point he kind of wakes up, and all of you are at this like kind of circular dinner table. It's not an actual table. It's like one of those like thrown out like wagon wheel coffee table type things that have been repurposed and moved inside. But as you're sitting in there, kind of talking, and it's fairly dark, there's a small candle on the table that gives a little bit of light. A few of you notice in the corner of the helicopter, suddenly a match is struck, and this match is kind of raised up, and you can see it hits the end of some sort of cigar, and you very briefly you get this contour of a very dark face, and you hear a voice kind of suck in a little bit and then puff out as like the smoke from the cigar begins to permeate in the room. And you hear a voice say,
"It appears you had some trouble in your journey here."
And stepping forward and kind of crouching down, you see a massive bear. Wildpaw is much bigger than all of you, but this other one is even larger. He's got this sort of like trenchy, like biker coat. He's got an eye patch covering one of his ears, or one of his eyes, not his ears. That'd be weird. Scars here and there. You see him. He's carrying some kind of semi-clear bottle, and he reaches into a small chest that's at his feet, and he reaches down. He pulls out what looks to be a handful of small shot glasses. All of them are cracked in such a way.
"The valley is filled with dangers."
And he sets the shot glasses down, and he starts pouring this liquid, like one for everybody. And I would say you would recognize this, Helena. This is some kind of moonshine, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of blurry. It's not particularly clear. So wherever he bought it or made it, the still probably needs some tweaking. But he passes it out to everybody, and he hands one directly to Hamill.
"Here, you look like you need this the most."
Thank you very much. This is, oh gosh, it's been such a horrible day, and just like glug glug glug.
And then he quickly fills up another one, and like he takes your glass, fills it up, and gives it back to you.
"There is more where this comes from."
Well, thank you. And she downs that one too.
And a little bit more slowly this time, grabs it and fills it up. Kind of answer to you,
"I think you might have a problem."
And then he kind of settles in on the opposite side of the table from all of you. Got this cigar sticking out of one side of his mouth, and he says,
"Time for introductions, I feel. I am Truffaut, the Elder."
He kind of looks all at you.
"And I am the one who sent Ringo to bring you here."
And so he just sort of looks and nods as if he's expecting you all to kind of introduce yourselves.
So do you know about my brother? I'm Hamill. He was Hamilton. He's the one that was taken.
Your brother is just one of the newest of sad, tragic endeavors that the Watchers have committed within the valley. I am sorry to hear about him. I did not know him personally, but your story and his story is a familiar tale.
And at that, Hamill just sort of looks sad and takes another drink, not quite as fast this time.
I do not promise that we can recover him, but I promise that we can make it more difficult for the Watchers to do what they did to Hamilton to any other animal henceforth.
I hope so.
And Helena will kind of nod in agreement and just kind of like reach her hand out for a handshake and introduce herself. I'm Helena 7.
So
Pleasure.
his giant paw comes out, and it's huge. It's like bigger.
She just gets like a talon.
It is a pleasure. And you have already met my niece, Wild Paw.
And Wild Paw is just sort of leaning back, not too interested. Like, she's paying attention, but you can tell that she's kind of deferring to Truffaut.
She has cast aside her Watcher given name for a different one. I have chosen to keep my lab name so that I will always remember the horrors that our oppressors perpetually push onto us.
Hey, I'm McCloud. We've met before. We're meeting now, and I'll meet you later.
He looks at you, and he looks at Ringo.
Was there not another dog, Seer, that we could have... Not Ringo not know any. So be it. I have asked Ringo to bring you here because I think we can do great things together. You have likely seen evidence of the resistance in your habitats, have you not?
All the time, yeah.
I lead that resistance. I ensure the various individuals like yourself are putting their respective skills to organized good use. The resistance is growing by the day, but no matter how many cells we recruit, we cannot defeat the Watchers. I know this will be hard for you to hear, Hamill, but they are simply too strong. We cannot defeat them in open battle. Our weapons...
He holds up his big-ass paw with these claws that suddenly kind of extend a little bit further past the fur.
Our weapons cannot penetrate their armor.
She pulls up her little like sling and rock. It's kind of like,
To think that furry forest creatures like ourselves could possibly defeat such technologically advanced factions is something fantastical out of the old age. But I have received encouraging reports, ones that suggest there is a mighty weapon from the old age that would be of great use to us. It is a machine-killing rifle that fires energy beams that pass through the metal hulls of the sentinels and the drones and all the other watchers. And somehow it destroys them, but it does not harm living things. My sources say that this weapon is called by the humans an EMP rifle. Should we be able to acquire this weapon, I am certain it will greatly improve our chances of fighting the Watchers. But sadly, and most frustratingly,
and you can see he's starting to get angry at this point. He takes a shot, and you see him slam the shot glass to the table, and it cracks a little bit more.
it is in the lodge, the outpost of the dog tribe, complicit in the terrors and horrors that the Watchers have treated us to all these years. The right hand, the pet.
And then he looks over at McCloud.
Yeah. I am sorry, little one. My anger sometimes gets the better of me. I know not all in the tribe are such spineless cowards as its leader, O'Donnell. I know some probably, like you and others, will aid. Otherwise, why would you be here?
And so as you see him, he kind of takes a break for a minute, kind of calms, does some meditation exercises. You see him pull a revolver out of his waistband, kind of drops it like right in the middle of the table in front of him. Takes a breath, empties out all the bullets, and then begins to slowly kind of reload them one at a time.
Mindfulness. It keeps me centered.
He loads them up, unloads them once more, and drops them down.
According to my sources in the lodge, the weapon is in the personal collection of the greediest scavenger of the dog tribe, Gagarin 11. Are you familiar with this one, McCloud?
You would be. You would probably be well aware.
Yeah, he always has what we need.
You know him to be very paranoid, very reclusive, keeps himself kind of locked up in his little scrap cabin, and never lets anyone inside. And because he's been able to kind of supply the tribe with all sorts of artifacts and goods, he kind of gets some sort of special treatment. So he has his cabin all to himself. He's got his own private guard and everything. And you know that the guard never lets anyone inside. Like anytime you ever tried to go in there before, like the guard's always following you in.
Mm.
I think perhaps your presence on this mission could be a boon. I will let you heal this evening. Tomorrow, we will plan and discuss your first true operation, the infiltration of the lodge.
And so he picks his revolver up, slides it back into his belt.
What say you? Are you a member, or shall you return to your habitats and live the rest of your days in fear and cowardice?
Chai's gonna raise his shot glass and say, "Chance to see some of the most beautiful artifacts I'm in," and downs it.
Nods in your direction.
Helena will raise hers and say, "Down with the watches," before she takes hers.
Okay. Kind of looks around, waiting for others.
I'll say it's only part of what I see, so it has to be done.
Kind of peers at you at that. It's kind of a curious.
We will talk more of these visions. What say you, Cujo?
Aye.
Kind of sizes you up.
Good. You seem a warrior type. You will be needed. Your strength will come in great handiness moving forward.
And then he looks over at Hamill.
For your brother.
And she raises her glass and says, "For Hamilton."
And you're probably like pretty drunk at this point.
Yeah, you're tiny.
I was gonna say 2 full shots and you're on your third. Whew.
Rest now. And tomorrow we will talk more.
And he disappears out the door into the open air. You see he takes a drag on the cigar, and you can see like that little red bit at the end. And he walks away into the night.
After this meeting completes, I'll do a quick scry.
Oh, will you now? It's a little okay. Go ahead. A little late for that, but all right.
I know it's just a little.
Okay.
Think of a talent for it.
Yeah, you can do it at any time. Meaning you don't. Need a
Sudden
ritual.
visions. Yeah, I don't need a ritual, so I can just have it happen.
Yeah, I think there's
So-
like you get negative modifications to it. Though. I
Yeah,
think
it's
a
minus
-2.
2.
Yeah.
So, when this happens, my eyes close real quick, and the helicopter and my cap starts spinning, even there's no wind around.
Ridiculous. Okay.
All right.
All right. Roll your check.
So I have 2 points at it normally. I would just take that 2 out.
Yeah, correct. And then remember to add them in later. Add them back in. You did not roll that correctly. So you want to
Yeah, how do I
put.
do that?
So when you bring up your, who are you again? You're McCloud. There we go.
McCloud.
So when you go down to where it says advanced roll, under total, you want to put in your base and your skill. So what's your base for instinct? How many instincts do you have? You got 5.
5?
So I'm going to put 5 in here. I'll do it. So, and then your skill in Scry is 2. Then you've got a -2 modification. So we'll take that away. And now you just go ahead and hit the roll button, which I just did. It's lagging, but there it goes. You got 2 successes.
Okay, what I see is when we all disband and walk out, someone carrying supplies, like a bunch of boxes, is walking around, and they're just starting to like trip and fall, and some boxes will land on Helena.
They're going to land on Helena.
Yeah, they're gonna fall on her.
Okay.
So when I come back out of it, I'll just look at Helena. Better watch your step.
Okay. So Wildpaw shows you all to places where you can sleep, either inside or out, doesn't matter. And Ringo says,
Do not worry. Ringo will come with you. Make sure. Supervise mission. Nothing to be afraid of. Good night.
and then he goes chasing after some fireflies with his tongue. And you all go to sleep for the night. And we're going to go ahead and end there. We went a little bit long because we started a little bit late. But that'll be the end of this episode, this session. We will go ahead and hold off on doing a strategic turn, I think, till next week. I'm going to try to use those at the end of certain sessions, so it helps me with my prep, so I kind of know what we're getting to, so that we don't really actually need to do that tonight. So, when do you guys want to play again?
See you this time next week.
I'm good Friday or Saturday.
Okay. Long, Melissa, Ashley, we good next week?
Should be, yeah.
Good for next week. I just don't know if it's Friday or Saturday.
Okay. All right. So we'll catch us on Twitter at Lollygagging. I will put up an announcement for when we're good to go. And that is it for us. So again, we are Adventures in Lollygagging. If you're still listening to us, if you're still in the channel, thanks for hanging out through some of the technical difficulties we had. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening later, thanks for hanging out. We will have another episode session next week on the Twitch channel. Follow, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. We'll try to do some more fancier things once we get some of these technical issues figured out. But that is it. If you want more of our stuff, more of our content, go to thelollygaggers.com, or you can catch us in our normal Monday release for our Adventures on Lollygagging Zweihander podcast. We are about 39 episodes in, so there's plenty of stuff for you to listen to as everyone's self-quarantining and self-distancing. Gives you some fun things to listen to. And that's it. So again, thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you next time.
Good night.
Bye-bye.